Welcome to the first ever episode of CJ Sports. It's Monday, April 26th. Pew, 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 pew. All right. We'll start with introductions. So first, my name is Clay. I'm from the greater Oklahoma City metro area. And just to let you know a little bit about my sports bias, I'm a big-time Green Bay Packers fan. I never miss a single game. Never. I broke a remote during the 2012 Fail Mary up in Seattle. And also, I follow the Brewers and the Penguins. I'll follow games when I can and check box scores during regular season, but I really get involved during the postseason. And then I also follow the Badgers and the Bucks, but that is really kind of just an update as they come through on my phone. I'm not super into those sports. Bring us back.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Jake. I am in the DFW, more specifically Fort Worth area, and I'm a huge fan of the Texas Rangers. They're playing a game right now, so if I ever look down like that, I'm getting an update on the score or something like that. I also follow closely the Dallas Cowboys, of course. Gotta rep them boys. Even though it's tough, it's fun, I guess. And I like hockey. I'll watch look at the box scores, watch some replays and stuff like that. But that's really it. And I guess I could be considered a Longhorns fan. I don't really care anymore. So
We're back.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, thanks, Sam.
All right. Well, for today's episode, to preface the NFL draft coming up on Thursday, we're going to talk about our worst picks of the last decade and our favorite picks of the decade. So I'll just jump right into the worst picks. So as a Packers fan, I have to say my honorable mention is Mitchell Trubisky in 2017 at number 2 overall. Overall, honestly, he's not the worst quarterback that we saw come out of the last few years.
For sure.
But the fact that the Bears moved up and traded away all that stuff just to get him at number 2 and later, see players like Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes go off the board. But he didn't make the list because, honestly, it's not that horrible of a pick. I'm just a Packers fan, so I got to throw some shade. But to jump right in, my worst picks all come from the first round, these first-round busts. So number 5. I've got 2013, third overall pick was Trent Richardson. The Cleveland Browns picked him.
Dude.
Now, he came out of college, and a lot of people were talking about he'd be, kind of the next Adrian Peterson or better.
Right.
And he ended up averaging 44 yards a game when he was healthy.
Yeah.
And his slow-burning career finally ended in the defunct AAF. And we haven't seen him since.
I forgot about that. That's hilarious. He was. Wasn't he on the Irons? Is that right?
I think whatever the Birmingham team was, right?
Yeah, I think they were the Irons. That sounds right.
I don't know. Who knows?
That's funny.
Coming in at number 4, I have a 2015 pick, number 7 overall. A wide receiver that went to the Chicago Bears, Kevin White. Now tell me, have you ever heard that name before?
It literally does not ring a bell whatsoever.
Yeah, probably because he played a total of 24 games over 4 years.
Yikes.
He had less receiving yards than I think Julian Edelman just retired with passing yards.
Wow, that's tough.
So, yeah, number 7 overall. That one panned out. And meanwhile, funny. Green Bay fans are begging for a first-round wide receiver. Okay.
They wish.
Yeah. Number 3, worst pick of all time. Another wide receiver, 2012, number 5 overall. The Jacksonville Jaguars selected Justin Blackmon. Now, this isn't really to his talent or his skill because he was on the field. He was a star. He probably could have been the best wide receiver the NFL ever saw. He just couldn't stop smoking the dope. Now he's back in my home state of Oklahoma, probably still on the streets of Ardmore smoking dope.
That's a tough look.
Who knows?
Tough look for Oklahoma.
Yeah. So
That's good.
Not looking good. Not looking
No,
good.
not at all. No.
Again, why do the Packer fans want a first-round wide receiver? I don't know.
Dude.
We got
Eventually, one day it'll happen. One day.
Well, I mean, all of our big names are from like the fourth round or later. Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So it baffles me. I don't know. Next up, we've got a 2018 pick, number 10 overall. Josh Rosen, quarterback, went to the Arizona Cardinals. Honestly, the surprising part of this, the part that, Rosen's career, I think we all know he was immediately the next year replaced with Kyler Murray as the first overall pick.
Yep.
Went out to Miami and got replaced by Fitzmagic. So,
yeah.
Not looking good, bud. Not looking good.
No. Is he on a team right now?
I don't know. Honestly, don't.
Okay.
Probably the Chicago Bears. They're signing any quarterback that's out. I don't know.
That's pretty good, too. Man, you're out here on fire right now.
I mean, how many quarterbacks have they signed in the last 3 years to still have Mitchell Trubisky up there?
That's fair. That's a good point.
But what's best about this pick is that in just 2 years, look at the Arizona Cardinals now. Cliff Kingsbury shows up, and they have recovered from that first-round pick phenomenally. Like, I'm dreading the fact that the NFC North and the AFC West play each other. Or not AFC, NFC West play each other this year. Because the NFC North versus all four of those teams, then a healthy 49ers team, Seattle Seahawks, we've got history against the Seahawks that still brings me nightmares. The Cardinals are looking like a good team. And the Rams bringing in Matthew Stafford, as much as the Lions suck, that man carried them for a decade.
True. Dang.
So Arizona Cardinals have really recovered from that pick.
Oh, yeah. Dang. Wow.
Yeah.
Shoot, and freaking stealing Hopkins from Texas. Like, I don't know. We could do a whole episode just on that. So
just on the Texans and their bad management.
Yeah, but hey, things are hoping.
Isn't J.J. Watt out there now?
Do what?
Isn't J.J. Watt out there? They got all the Texans out there.
No, he's leaving, isn't he? I don't remember.
He left the Texans and went to the Cardinals, right?
Oh, yeah. Dude, now freaking he's on the Cardinals. That's right.
I'm telling you, that team, honestly, contender.
True.
I mean,
100%.
Press record, show me in November when we're talking about them as vying for a second or first overall seed in the NFC playoffs.
You heard it here, folks. Heard it here.
Heard it here first. And finally, my number one worst pick in the last decade. I'm going to go to the 30-30 club, Jameis Winston. Honestly, it's hard when you get replaced by an arguably greatest of all-time quarterback and see him win a Super Bowl his first year at your old team.
True.
Because it's just so obvious had you not thrown those 30 interceptions, you're a playoff team who goes deep in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'll admit Tom Brady got his choice of bringing in running backs and bringing in tight ends and got a wide receiver mid-season. But at the end of the day, the biggest part is the lack of turnovers after Jameis Winston leaves.
True.
And if I followed correctly, I think he even up in Carolina now, right? And then they just bring in a new quarterback?
They did, which, funny enough, he is on my list.
Oh.
Yeah. I guess solid segue. Good job, Jake. But he's not
bonus points if he's number 5 on your list.
He is not my number 5. But this might shock people. So at number 5, I follow the same criteria as Clay. Looked at first round guys who just like over the past decade who just like have not performed. Some of them aren't even in the league anymore, which is kind of shocking. But when I say the names, you'll know exactly why. But for number 5, I have O.J. Howard. Tied in for the Bucks, taken in 2017 in the first round. Dude has done absolutely nothing his entire career so far. Literally 17, 18, 19, and 20. 20, he just rode the coattails of Brady and got a Super Bowl ring because he was on the team. He didn't.
Wasn't he hurt?
He was hurt. Yeah, that's the thing. He's
Majority
every
of the
year
season.
he's had injuries every single year, and for 2 years in a row, I'm kind of bitter, which is why he's kind of on my list. He was on my fantasy team for 2 years in a row and did absolutely nothing, and I had to like just get rid of him, and it just I was mad. The dude only has averaged 400 yards a season. That's awful. That's
He
not.
also had a quarterback for several seasons throwing 30 picks. So
But yeah, at the same time, like even with the worst quarterbacks, tight ends have done at least like 600 yards and like
yeah.
8 touchdowns. The dude's best season was 2017, his rookie year. Since then, he's done like absolutely nothing.
And I mean, if he hadn't gotten hurt this year, we could have just blamed it on Gronkowski being there with Brady.
Dude,
right?
Even
But
when
he
he
got
was
hurt.
healthy, Gronk played over him. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
I think he only played like 4 games this year or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Don't draft him this year.
No, I will not. But so for moves on to my next one. Number 4, Drew Lock, QB for the Broncos. He was not the first round pick, so I will clarify that he was not a first round pick, but he was the second round in 2019. And Drew Lock was supposed to be like all of the bad quarterbacks they had just had. Drew Lock was supposed to be like the savior. He played 2019 and 2020. But the thing is, in 2019, he was under Flacco, right? And then last year, he was last year he was the starting quarterback for most of the season, and like just didn't really do anything. He was okay. He was decent. He was like made the team kind of competitive because he knew how to hand the ball off really well. Because they have Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay, but
they're good running backs.
Right, but even then, he's got like a 79.1 passer rating, which is not good. And like he's already on the verge of being replaced. The rumors are that they're going to replace him with one of the picks in the draft this year.
Yeah,
and so like that's just not good. Like,
you want to know a embarrassing factoid about good old Drew Lock, which is shocking that I didn't think of him. Going into that draft, I was like, you know what? If the Packers could snag him in the third round and let him sit behind Rodgers for 3 or 4 years, he'd probably be a good replacement. And who knows? Maybe if he had 3 or 4 years behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, maybe. Mm-hmm. But what we've seen so far, I'm glad that we did not end up with him.
For real. The dude, he's got some promise. Like, he's still young. Last year was only his second year. But, like, I don't know. He'll probably be one of those other forgotten quarterbacks that the Broncos had. Which, speaking of, my number 3 is Paxton Lynch. Also a Broncos quarterback, taken 3 years before Drew Lock in 2016, their first round pick. Dude played. Do you know how many games that Paxton Lynch has played in the NFL?
4.
Close. 5. He started 4 games. Do you know how many touchdowns he has?
Probably like 2.
4.
Oh.
You know how many interceptions he has?
16.
4.
Oh.
Dude's career is literally 4. Like the number 4. Except for the first
there's some good 4s out there,
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, Brett Favre.
True.
That's
but like this dude, he's not even in the NFL anymore. Like he went the Broncos cut him. He got on like I want to say I forget which team. Like I think it was the Seahawks. Like signed him to their practice squad. Then he got cut. So like he's just not in the NFL anymore after 2 seasons of doing nothing. But he was supposed to be like the guy after Peyton Manning.
Yep.
They were waiting, and Paxton Lynch was supposed to be the guy, and it just didn't happen.
When you're done with your list, he reminds me of another quarterback, but I'm gonna not say it out of risk of ruining one of your top 3.
Okay. So my number 2 here. This is gonna be an interesting conversation. I'm gonna have a buddy that's gonna hate me.
Okay.
Number 2 is Carson Wentz. Like, and his whole career the last 2 years has been up in the air. No one really knows who Carson Wentz is anymore. Is he still that quarterback that helped the Eagles get to the playoffs? Or is he the quarterback that has done literally nothing except one big win over the Packers one year? That was it. That's all he has done, has had one good game against at the Pack. I believe it was the Packers in like 2016 or 2017 or
Oh,
2018.
I don't know. I know that they beat them last year in
Yeah.
2019. Or I guess that's 2 seasons ago now.
Yeah, maybe it was 2019. I don't know, but the Jews had like one good game that was like a big game.
Yeah, that one
Besides
sucked.
that, it's just like
That was the Thursday night game.
yeah, yeah. He has been to one Pro Bowl and won a Super Bowl, but he didn't win the Super Bowl. Literally, Nick Foles did. He's
Yeah.
also been replaced twice by Nick
Where's he at
Foles.
now? Indianapolis?
Yeah, he got traded to Indy for basically nothing. And yeah, he was and then he was replaced by Foles and then Jalen Hurts this past year. And then they're
Now
like,
Jalen Hurts has to battle Joe Flacco for the starting job. I don't know what's going on in Philly.
Jalen Hurts is winning. I don't know, but I got a buddy that's going to be mad that I just said that, but he already knows how I feel. It's not because I'm a Cowboys fan that with the whole Eagles. It's like Carson Wentz has done nothing. He's like
He's mad. He's just letting his bias cloud his judgment.
for real. So my number one, worst bust, and this dude has some life in his career for sure, but Sam Darnold.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Jets 2018 first round pick. Same draft class as a lot of other guys that went that year.
Mm-hmm.
That the Jets and I get the Jets really needed a quarterback, but they could have gone somewhere else. They could have signed another veteran, just could have signed an old man vet that could have held that team in place for a few years until they were had a ripe opportunity for a good quarterback class.
They could have called Favre out of retirement.
Right.
He's known to do that.
Right.
They already have his jersey ready to go.
Right. So it's just there waiting. But he's done okay. He's showed promise for sure. He's had moments of shine, but just dude gets injured. He was sick with mono for 3 games one season. Yeah. Apparently, it was mono. It's really bad mono.
Should have worn a mask and social distanced.
Oh gosh, but no. And then he was traded to the Panthers for a 4th and a 6th round pick. Oh. After being supposed to be the future.
That's who's at the Panthers.
That's who's at the Panthers. So he got traded for absolutely nothing. He too was supposed to be the future of the Jets, and then they just said no and traded him for one of the guys that's going to get drafted this year. But
so to backtrack, because I was afraid he might be one of your top 2, and I really struggled with my top 5 worst because I didn't just want it to be a list of quarterbacks because that's the way it was shaping up initially. I had names like Brandon Weeden. I had Paxton on there. But the other guy, very similar to Paxton, that I had on there was Tennessee Titans. I forget what year it was, but I think he was an 8th overall pick, Jake Walker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, that was a long time
I'm pretty sure they took him 8th overall in 2011 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I could look that up right now, but honestly, I don't really want to because Jake Walker was nothing special.
I'm sure somebody watching will look it up and throw it in the comments that I got it wrong, and it's 2013, buddy, and he was the 9th overall pick.
For sure, yeah. Let us know if Clay is wrong. Just call him out.
Yeah. I'll never admit it, but go ahead and do
it. Yeah, but I will say, for my dishonorable mentions, because it's not honorable. Brandon Weeden was for sure one of them, and the other one, of course, Johnny Football.
Oh man!
Can't forget a Johnny
Give me that
Football.
Money,
dude. That has tried to play in literally every single league in North America.
Yeah, he's been in the CFL, wasn't he? In the AAF, and then did he try the XFL?
Yeah, he tried the XFL. Now he's in whatever the fan-controlled football or whatever.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he did.
Well, that way it's not his fault when he sucks, the fans' fault.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, none of that is.
Hey, as long as he's making that money.
Oh yeah. Just sign his freaking name on a bunch of stuff for $20 each, if it's even worth that anymore.
Look, it takes 3 seconds to sign your name. I'd do that.
Yeah,
getting paid $20 every 3 seconds.
Do you want Johnny Manziel's autograph?
No. I'm saying other people pay me for my autograph.
Okay, well, Clay,
Heck, I'd
no
even do
offense.
$1. If people would pay me $1 for signed stuff, I'd find an hour out of my day to just constantly sign things.
Dude, don't say that. This is going on the internet.
Look, if someone wants to set something up, I'll send you stuff for your Etsy shop. I'll sign almost anything, $1 a piece.
Signed by Clay of CJ Sports.
Yep. You can pick what number I put on it too. I don't care.
Man, look at that.
69, good old David Bakhtiari, right?
What a generous guy right here. But let's end that because I don't want to keep laughing at all the badness that we just talked about.
It's all right.
Let's move to the best picks and our favorite picks that teams have made. What did we decide we were going to call this?
Well, we went back and forth between bang and bust.
Right.
We thought about doing home runs because that's a good sports metaphor, but my wife thinks that crossing sports is a bad idea. But I don't know.
Whatever. I guess we would call it.
I agree though. Like it's weird to talk about football and say home run.
Yeah,
right?
but like home run is a term that people use every day. So I'm gonna call it
almost every cable network show makes fun of people who don't know sports for saying home run during a football game.
I don't care. All those dudes can go away. I don't care.
These are our bangs in the NFL draft.
Yeah, our bangs. Like the team just hit gold. And so for this,
like back in the
90s. Right. I went out of the first round, out of the second round. I went all the way like to the 5th through the 7th round. Because these are guys that teams took a flyer on, like, you could be something. So, you show promise, we'll take you as some depth, and if you turn into something cool, if not, whatever. No, they get like almost zero money for signing bonuses and all that. But my number 5 was James Robinson, the running back for the Jaguars, who actually was undrafted this last year.
Okay.
And he went into minicamp, did so well that.
So wait, your number 5 best draft pick.
Yes.
Is not even a draft pick.
Yeah, and there's going to be 2 more of them. Okay.
Oh my gosh. If one of them's not Alan Lazard, we're done. This
Actually, there's just one more of them. Alan Lazard. Per you don't even like Alan Lazard that much. So.
I do too. Blizzard King is my man.
Whatever. You go back and forth, and you know it. But yeah, no, dude came in minicamp, did so well that they just decided to cut Leonard Fournette. They just were like, nah, this dude that's like going to be probably one of the top 10 running backs this year. Nope. We'll take this guy that we really like, and he had over 1,000 yards rushing and over 1,400 yards from scrimmage, and broke a rookie free agent record.
He's probably also getting paid like $500,000.
True. That's the thing. They got him for nothing, and
I mean, I'd like to get paid nothing.
Oh, true. And to like just
that's our
set a bunch of records.
Nothing.
Sure.
Sign me up.
So Clay, you'll love this pick. My number 4. Green Bay Packers running back, Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones
was taken in the 5th round of 2017.
Yep.
Talk about an absolute flyer. And in 2017, who were their running backs? I know you know.
At Green Bay?
Yep.
In 2017, I mean, Cheeseburger Eddie was around then.
Yeah.
He was
true.
He got sick over the offseason and then came out looking like the Kool-Aid man.
True. Didn't they also do the timeout?
Jamal Williams, I think, was the same year because both their contracts were up this year.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, they had like established running backs already. They didn't necessarily need anybody. They needed a 3rd one, but.
The real problem was Mike McCarthy didn't know how to use running backs.
Well,
look at Aaron Jones in 2018 compared to Aaron Jones in 2019 and tell me what the main difference was there.
Bro, legit, that's the thing. 2019, he was the rushing touchdown leader, like 16 touchdowns. Insane. And had over 1,000. That was one of his 1,000-yard seasons.
Where 4 of those were put up? Big D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks. I don't want to think about that. So, number 3. I almost said Aaron Jones again. George Kittle.
George.
He was
Where did he go?
He was taken in the 5th round
Wow.
in 2017.
Favorite Canadian. Move
Right.
over, Justin Bieber.
So good. Dude has been to the Pro Bowl twice, two 1,000-yard seasons, and like to top it off, in 2019 he broke the tight end like yards single season reception yard record from.
He sat on my IR pretty much all of 2020.
Yeah, he broke it from Travis Kelce, and then Travis Kelce turned around and broke it again then last year. So whatever. But dude, George Kittle is like your top 2 tight end. It's between him and Kelce. It's like basically you have an argument for both. Neither of them is really much better than the other. They're both the same. Over number 2, Tyreek Hill, 2016 5th round. And I feel like all I have to do is say Tyreek Hill's name, and everyone could just be like, "Yeah, makes sense."
Hey, This is a whole other episode, but the new onside kick rules, Kansas City's going to get the most this year. Count it right now. Because the way you can line up is if that, receiving team goes all one side, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to take Tyreek Hill over anybody on the other side of that line to win a race 10 yards downfield.
Yeah, pretty much. And the dude has made the Pro Bowl literally every single year, including his rookie year.
Yeah.
So that's just insane.
You want to know, he is the evidence that Mike Gundy is an incompetent coach.
True.
Look at his Oklahoma State experience. That's why he was a 5th round pick, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. 5th round pick out of Oklahoma State because Mike Gundy didn't know how to use him properly, or Holgerson maybe was offensive coordinator at the time.
You know over me.
Dana Holgerson.
Yeah.
Either way, Gundy and the offensive coordinator, but we all know Gundy called the plays up there.
True.
Didn't know how to use a guy like that on offense. And look what he's done in the NFL.
Yeah, for real. Has had 3 1,000-yard seasons. Would have had 4 if he wasn't hurt all this past year.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, so for number 1, this is another undrafted guy, and a guy that has 100% cemented himself as a top 5 wide receiver conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't even remember that Adam Thielen went undrafted in 2020.
I didn't know he was undrafted, honestly.
That's the thing. I feel like early on in his career, that was 100% talked about because he was at first a return specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that they signed him from being undrafted. They signed him as a free agent, and then they cut him for their final roster cuts. They just cut him, and then the next day turned around and said, "Join our practice squad." So he said, "Okay." And then since then, 2 Pro Bowls and 2 1,000-yard seasons. We would also have 3 if we're not for injuries. So,
it's crazy because, in 2 years from now, we might be making an episode where I say the same things about Allen Lazard.
Right.
Right? The guy who Aaron Rodgers back in 2019 was 13. He's got a locker next to me. Let's get him in this game.
Oh, for sure.
Didn't know his name. Just knew he had a locker next to him and said, get him in this game.
Oh, for sure.
That's Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah. I'll say some honorable mentions. Philip Lindsay was also undrafted. Went to the Broncos in 2018. And then Chris Carson, who was a top
Oklahoma State running back, right?
Yeah. Top 5 running back, 2017, the 7th round. He was the 5th to the last pick in 2017. And it was absolutely insane that now he's I had him for fantasy this past year, and he was a freaking workhorse, let me tell you. If he wouldn't have got hurt, I probably would have freaking won our fantasy league, but I didn't because whatever. Even though anyway. What about you, Clay? Your top 5 bang.
My top 5. So mine was a little bit different approach. I looked at first round only.
Okay.
So as I'm looking at it, the later in the first round it is, the better overall pick it was. Even still, it was really hard not to make just a list of quarterbacks. So there's some quarterbacks that definitely could be a top 5 first-round pick in the last decade that out of the fact that, you know what, I'm not doing a list of 5 quarterbacks. That's ridiculous. They're not there.
Yeah.
You ended with honorable mentions, so I'll start with them. My honorable mentions include some 2020 draftees because it's hard for you to put somebody on the list after just one season. But Justin Herbert lit it up this year.
For sure.
Another Justin from 2020, Justin Jefferson, scares me. As a Packers fan, scares me. We re-signed Kevin King while Minnesota's over there with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Right. One of them's going to line up against Kevin King.
Right. Imagine
we all saw how that worked out against Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship. Still sore subjects.
Just think about something real quick. Think if Stephon Diggs stayed in Minnesota.
I don't want to.
Like, that's insane.
Saving grace, Kirk Cousins is still the quarterback.
True. No
anyway.
Kirk.
So, a couple other honorables. 2018, you had Minkah Fitzpatrick go in the first round. Number 11 overall. So, he really – Miami Dolphins lost the trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers there, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
100%. My last honorable mention would be Mr. CMC. He was a number 8 overall pick. And what can you say about a guy who goes 1,000 for 1,000, right?
Yeah, true. It's a solid man.
I mean, he's been hurt. That's why he's not in the honorable mentions. I think he would have been top 5 had he thrown in another stellar year this year without getting hurt. But number 5, top pick from the first round, went 18th overall. And this is my bias here because it's from 2018. And it's a Green Bay Packer. Jair Alexander. The dude allowed less than 100 yards receiving against him in all of 2020. Like, his third season in the NFL, he had 18, 19, and 20. He's doing that.
Right. And
the only reason why we won 13 games despite Kevin King being on the other side.
True. And you forget that, like, guys like that did that because you think of last season and you don't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, but he held people like Calvin Ridley coming into that game had been averaging over 80 yards a game, and he had no catches for 0 yards against Jair Alexander.
Dang.
He had like 3 pass breakups and 2 drops against Jair Alexander.
Dang. Dude. Cornerstone of a defense.
I mean, yeah. That guy. So that's my number 5. Number 6, another defensive back who recently was traded out to the LA Rams this last season and is one of the reasons why I think that division is so tough, Jalen Ramsey. He was a number 5 overall pick in 2016. He's only one of 2 top 10 picks I put in my top 5. But again, that guy is shut down on the defensive side. Wide receivers, tight ends, doesn't matter. They're not doing anything against this guy.
That's fair. Yeah.
Number 4, purely because 2 quarterbacks went before him.
Okay.
One of which was good old Mitchell Trubisky at number 2 overall that year. Number 10 pick in the 2017 draft was Patrick Mahomes.
Dude.
I would say that panned out pretty well.
You think? Signed the largest contract in NFL history?
Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah.
Although it'll be interesting here in a couple of years when the big bucks on his contract start hitting in if he goes the route of Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, and that will set whether or not we see another dynasty with Kansas City. Because the Aaron Rodgers route, they ain't going to do it.
No.
That's just my current frustration.
Let it out.
Right above him, at my number 2 best pick in the first round, is a guy that is argued, is he a quarterback? Is he a running back? What is he? Lamar Jackson. He was the 32nd overall pick that year.
Yeah.
And say what you will, but the dude has played great. He wins games. He's in a tough division, in my opinion. I think that's about to be one of the toughest AFC divisions this year.
Mm.
I mean, you look at the roster in Cleveland, and they should be a playoff team. They should be a contender.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see if they can translate that to the field, because that's been the hardest part.
Right.
Pittsburgh Steelers, Big Ben is definitely on a decline, but they've figured out ways to sort of make it work here and there.
Right.
So consistency is their crutch. And Cincinnati is going to be a test this year. Joe Burrow healthy for a full season. We'll see what happens. But Lamar Jackson still finds a way to get wins. You just can't do it as well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which I'm used to in Green Bay.
Dang.
The last decade. But my best pick in the first round comes at 13th overall in 2014. This guy has been Defensive Player of the Year, 3-4 times in the last, 6 seasons?
Yeah.
Aaron Donald. The dude is crazy.
Oh,
I mean, he's been like a 99 overall on Madden 3 years in a row or something. He is Defensive Player of the Year. He's all pro. He's going to Pro Bowls. I didn't look up the exact numbers, but dude's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I do not want to line up against him as an offensive lineman knowing I got to protect a quarterback behind me.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my best picks in the first round. So unlike you, I stayed in the first round. I think both are valid ways to look at it, given, you can get a really good pick in the first round, and you should. That's why I tried my best to stay out of the top 10, is you should get a really good pick in the top 10 especially.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But to find some of those guys like Adam Thielen, undrafted.
Yeah,
crazy.
right? Weird to think about now. Adam
Crazy.
Thielen, top 5 receiver in the league, taken like as your second or third round, usually as your second round pick in your fantasy draft. Like, dude that gets Adam Thielen, everyone else freaking hates him because you're like, of course, Adam Thielen's going to be one of the first receivers to go. Of course he is, because after like all the good running backs, it's like, I guess I need a receiver. Adam Thielen.
DeAndre Hopkins and Adams went at the end of the first round when like the top tier running backs were already gone.
Or Tyreek Hill, both of those guys. Like
Tyreek Hill's always hard for me to take because it's like he's got to share with Kelsey, and Patrick Mahomes is really good at throwing the ball around. So like Tyreek Hill can have a 4-touchdown game or a 40-yard game.
Dude, but Hill had a 1,000-yard season with Mahomes in 2019, the year they won the Super Bowl.
I'm just saying it's hard, man.
It is, but he makes it work. Literally, when you're that fast, you can't not get the ball.
Well, unless you're like MVS and you drop it at the goal line.
Well, one of them has better hands than the other, so there's that. But
I'm going to try to say my best to stay in the Green Bay Packers lane on making jokes about players, because at least I'm not offending anybody else other than people who are my people, right?
True, yeah, which, I'll just spread it all out, man. I don't care. Hate me. I don't care.
I'll just pick on the whole NFC North.
Yeah, I'm a bitter Cowboys fan, so why don't you get over it?
The NFC North is really good at wasting star players' careers. Adrian Peterson, Barry Sanders, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford. We're also really good at having a team who doesn't know what to do at quarterback. We can either go the Christian Ponder and Minnesota Vikings route or the Jay Cutler and Chicago Bears route.
Ooh, that's a good one. And
the Bears have had like 6 like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So to close out today's episode, which I'm sure we're way past our goal of 20 minutes.
It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Real quick, let's look at our 2 favorite teams, Green Bay Packers, obviously, and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
And what we would like them to do on Thursday. Thursday is the draft, and what we'd like them to do, particularly in the first round, because that's all that's aired Thursday night. So I'll go ahead and get us started. You can close us out.
Cool.
It's really tough for me. I go back and forth between an offensive player and a defensive player for the Green Bay Packers, but not players necessarily that the majority of the fan base are looking at. I'd say the majority of the fan base are looking at wide receivers. I've made that joke a few times. I don't think it's going to help Aaron Rodgers win a championship. I just don't. I don't think that's the big glaring issue. I think the glaring issue is the defense and particularly the run-stopping game, but just pressure in general on the quarterback. Shut down Kenny Clark, shut down Zadarius Smith, and you're pretty good. So I'm looking at Alabama defensive lineman Christian Barmore as the pick. I believe we have the 29th overall pick. So it's going to be slim pickings by the time you get there. Although there's been a rumor that the New England Patriots want Jordan Love, which who the hell knows why. I don't know.
Because they need a quarterback?
I guess. But the dude hasn't even played a regular season game. I don't think he suited up but like the first 2 weeks last year.
Dang.
However, at first I thought that was total bogus. Brian Goot, because I can never say his full last name, our general manager up there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, he has stated that they are looking to extend Aaron Rodgers' contract.
Okay.
Which makes it more believable that they might just trade away Jordan Love. Do I think they're going to get a first round and a second round pick out of it? No.
No way.
But other parts of that rumor become more realistic when I hear Aaron Rodgers is looking at extending with the Packers. And if that's true, I'm here for it.
All right.
I think we've got Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon at running back. We're good. I think if you can keep MVS, you love to hate the guy. But I think on the field with Adams, Lazard, and for heaven's sake, can we just bring Jake Kumaro back? Like, that's Aaron Rodgers stomped around and wanted that guy to stay last year. And where does he end up? The practice squad in Buffalo. And that's what I'll say about that. I'll pass the baton to you.
Okay. Well, unlike Clay, who is like a super hardcore Green Bay Packers fan and like has things ready to go, like you said, he legitimately never misses a game. I will text him about things during the Packers game that I see in the highlights or whatever from watching the Cowboys game. And I'm like, dude, what the heck is that? He's just like, man, I don't want to talk about it. All right. I like Cowboys, but after the past 2 seasons, it's been hard to root for the Cowboys. It's gotten me to kind of not care anymore. I still care, and I'm going to watch every game, of course, because I hate myself, apparently. And so, but I don't have a specific guy, but, like, I've been saying this ever since I was in high school with, Tony Romo being the quarterback, and now it's Dak Prescott. The problem has always been the defense. Literally, I do not care who you are. You can have a guy like Byron Jones, who's now gone. You can have a guy like Sean Lee. You can have a guy like Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith and all those guys that have been there. And, a solid defensive line. Your defensive secondary cannot just let people right past them. That is literally always the problem, the cornerbacks and the safeties. And not that there aren't solid guys that have been there, just none of them can do it consistently. And you need a guy that can just be that shutdown corner or be that safety in the back that is like, Jalen Ramsey or like, when Earl Thomas was a free agent, it was rumored that he wanted to go to Dallas and Jerry Jones just like didn't try hard enough, so he went to the Ravens.
There's the real problem. You say it's the secondary. It's really that name you just said.
Yeah, it's really Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones doesn't need to be the general manager anymore, but he won't accept it.
He can be the owner. Like, he can build super cool stadiums.
Just
I don't
not
care.
the general manager anymore. Whatever. That's a whole other rant. But no, but for real, like just a defensive secondary, I would prefer probably a safety over a cornerback because you have guys that can fill in at cornerback, like Chidobe Awuzie is really underrated. He has his flashes of being really good, but like at the same time, he just lets people right by him as well. And so I don't know. And it's just a really solid defensive secondary, even if it's not a first round guy, hopefully it is. Knowing Jerry Jones, he's going to take probably some offensive linemen. So I don't know, whatever. But yeah, a defensive secondary guy, a safety, like just.
You can't let Dak Prescott get hurt again,
dude.
He just spent all that money on Dak Prescott. He's got to stay healthy.
For real, like Tyron Smith is not going to be a freaking starter every year anymore. That's way past that. I get it, but like somebody to protect Dak and like the second round pick, offensive tackle. That's fine. whatever. But man, you got me on a whole thing, Clay. You got me on a whole thing.
Oh man. Too bad you can't have the offensive line issues Green Bay does, where we've got enough guys who can rotate in and out. It's like, what do we do with all these guys on payroll?
Oh man, yeah, freaking I would love that. Okay.
Maybe we trade him to Dallas for a wide receiver who can catch the deep ball.
No.
You guys got a couple down there, I hear.
No, can't have any of them. They're
Okay, fine.
So this is, our first episode, our first time doing this podcast. We've got some things coming up. We're looking at doing a draft response episode. Sorry, guys, some technical issues. That's what happens when you have bad internet. But so like I was gonna say, we're gonna start a new series. And we're also gonna do looking at doing a draft episode, like a draft reaction from the first round, see how our teams did and how some of the other teams, what routes they took. And maybe we also premiere a new series having to do with players and players that wore those specific numbers.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe we do something like that.
Sounds a little 21 Savage, if you ask me.
Okay. Well, I work with teenagers and I still don't quite get that. So, whatever.
Well, the fact that I can make a pop culture pun and somebody else doesn't get it is a good reversal for me.
There you go. Yeah. That's not hard with me. But just one of those things, but I don't.
Tune in for our draft reactions.